All right, you've heard of tractors, but have you ever seen the ones that look straight out of a sci-fi movie set in a cornfield? Well, today we're going to count down 10 of the most bizarre American crawlers that you won't believe exist. Stick around because these machines are unlike anything that you've probably encountered on a regular farm run. Let's dive straight into a nostalgic look at some truly strange crawlers that helped define American innovation throughout the 1900s. Number 10, the Lombard steam log hauler. Now, when you think of crawler tractors, you're probably picturing a big diesel engine in a dusty field. But one of the earliest track-laying tractors, if you can call it that, was a steam-powered beast that roamed the snowy forests of Maine. Developed by Alvin Orlando Lombard in 1901, the Lombard steam log hauler was designed to carry massive loads of timber across rough winter terrain. Weighing about 20 tons and equipped with a steam boiler instead of the typical internal combustion engine, this odd-looking contraption featured a set of heavy metal tracks in the rear and steering skis at the front. Yeah, skis instead of wheels. In essence, Lombard's invention was part tractor, part locomotive, and part sled. Its steam engine delivered enough torque to pull huge strings of log-filled sleds through conditions that would stop a conventional wheeled vehicle in its tracks. The capability revolutionized logging in Maine and the surrounding regions because it saved lumber companies a fortune in time, labor, and transport challenges. Now, while it might seem a bit primitive today, the Lombard steam log hauler helped pioneer the idea that continuous tracks could propel a machine through mud, snow, and rugged forests more efficiently than wheels ever could. It's no exaggeration to say that this machine had a ripple effect on future tractor and tank designs. Many historians credit Lombard's patent for influencing subsequent crawler tractors, and even the U.S. military's approach to tank mobility during World War I. Although only a handful of these steam haulers survive in museums today, the memory of chugging lumber caravans forging through winter woods lingers on. It's a perfect example of early American ingenuity. Yeah, a bit bizarre to modernize, but undeniably groundbreaking for its era. Number 9, the Holt 75. Next up, we've got a machine that many folks will recognize as one of the grandfathers of modern crawlers, the Holt 75. Manufactured by the Holt Manufacturing Company, founded by Benjamin Holt in Stockton, California, this tractor first roared onto the scene around 1913. Sporting a 75-horsepower gas engine, which was a mighty force at the time, it was one of Holt's early Caterpillar-style tractors, boasting big, continuous tracks that gave it exceptional traction on soft ground. Now, the Holt 75 is famous for its service during World War I, where it hauled artillery and supplies across the muddy battlefields of France. Tanks of that era even borrowed heavily from Holt's crawler technology, which had proven that it could traverse land that would swallow a wheeled vehicle in minutes. The tractor's design was relatively straightforward: exposed engine, open operator platform, and massive tracks. But the practicality was revolutionary. Beyond its military contributions, the Holt 75 also carved out a place in agriculture and construction. Large-scale farmers used it to pull multiple plows and break up hard soils with fewer passes, while road builders discovered that they could move earth efficiently with a crawler that didn't bog down under load. Its success helped cement the track-laying principle in heavy equipment design. Now, from a cultural standpoint, the Holt name remains a legend among vintage tractor enthusiasts. Holt merged with C.L. Best Tractor Company in 1925 to form the Caterpillar Tractor Company. Yeah, the same cat that's a household name in construction today. In reality, if you want to trace the lineage of that bright yellow bulldozer that you see on road crews, the Holt 75 is one of its proud ancestors. Whether on a battlefield or in a wheat field, it laid the groundwork, literally, for crawler tractors as we know them today. Number 8, the Best 60. It's impossible to talk about Holt without giving a nod to Daniel Best, another pioneer who helped shape what would later become Caterpillar. The Best 60, introduced around 1919 by the C.L. Best Tractor Company, epitomized the fiercely innovative spirit of early crawler development. Like its rival, the Holt 75, the Best 60 was a massive track layer, typically rated around 60 drawbar horsepower, although the actual power often felt like it could uproot a small forest if you asked it to. Now, visually, it resembled a hulking open-frame machine with a vertical front radiator and a wide undercarriage sporting these defining continuous tracks. The idea was pretty simple. You gain maximum traction in all kinds of terrain. In regions where conventional tractors would sink or spin out, the Best 60's broad tracks would spread the machine's weight over a large area, reducing ground pressure. This advantage was a game-changer in reclamation projects, heavy farming, and road work. Historically, the Best 60 is crucial because it represents that intense period of competition between Holt and Best. Each was working to perfect the crawler technology, which turned out to be invaluable far beyond the farm. The best part, no pun intended, is how these rival companies ended up merging into one unstoppable brand, Caterpillar, in 1925. Now, that union set the stage for nearly a century of global dominance in earth-moving equipment. Enthusiasts today consider the best 60 a collector's gem. Restored models often appear at antique tractor shows, puffing black exhaust while they rumble about dusty fairgrounds. It's an awesome reminder of American tenacity. People like C.L. Best, who looked at muddy fields and harsh terrains and thought, hey, maybe we could build something to handle that. The best 60s durability, raw power, and place in history make it a notable addition to our countdown of bizarre crawlers that defined the 1900s. Number 7, the Yuba ball tread. You ever see a track made of steel balls rolling along the ground instead of an interconnected steel plate? Well, that's exactly what the Yuba Manufacturing Company brought to the table with their eccentric Yuba ball tread crawler tractor, introduced around the mid-1910s. Now, in an era when most crawler designs would use flat plates that were connected by chains or links, Yuba decided to revolutionize, or at least radically experiment with, the concept. The result was a crawler that used cylindrical or spherical balls within a steel framework. These rolling elements were meant to provide traction in loose or muddy soil, which was a key challenge for California's orchard farms and rice fields. On paper, it promised less friction and easier navigation over soft ground. In practice, the ball tread system often proved complicated and prone to wear. If one ball got out of place, you'd have a real headache on your hands, but still, that kind of inventive spirit set Yuba apart. Aside from the unique tracks, the Yuba ball tread tractor was relatively small compared to the hulking Holt or Best machines. It typically sported a 4-cylinder engine and was marketed toward orchardists and smaller farm operations that needed maneuverability more than raw giant horsepower. Unfortunately, Yuba didn't quite achieve the lasting commercial success that they had hoped for, especially once more conventional track designs became the industry standard. But nevertheless, the Yuba ball tread stands out as a bizarre but fascinating piece of crawler history. It showed that American manufacturers in the early 1900s weren't afraid to push the boundaries of track design. Today, surviving examples and documentation are rare, making it a prized oddity among tractor collectors. If you do happen to stumble upon one at a vintage machinery show, take a moment to appreciate the creativity and ambition that was put behind these rolling steel spheres. Number 6, the Cletrac Model F. Moving right along our list, we arrive at the Cletrac Model F, an early creation of the Cleveland Tractor Company, often referred to simply as Cletrac. Founded by Roland H. White, Cletrac was known for building smaller, nimble crawlers that were easier to handle than some of the behemoths of that era. The Model F, introduced in 1916, exemplified that approach. It was light enough for one-person operation, yet robust enough for real field work. At its core, the Model F featured a 4-cylinder engine, commonly a Waukesha engine, positioned in a compact chassis with wide steel tracks. This design gave orchard owners, small-scale farmers, and road construction crews a crawler that was both powerful and agile. The real magic, though, was Cletrac's advanced controlled differential steering system, which made turning smoother and more precise than many competing tractors of the time. Culturally, Cletrac developed a loyal following, especially in areas where orchard farming demanded delicate maneuvers around trees. You see, these orchardists didn't want to tear up half of their crop just to make a U-turn. That is where the Cletrac Model F shone. It also was used in municipal projects and even found fans in the military for specialized tasks, showing just how versatile a crawler tractor could be. Now, Cletrac's innovations didn't stop with the Model F. Over the years, the Cleveland Tractor Company rolled out a variety of crawlers with improved track systems, better weight distribution, and more comfortable operator platforms. In 1944, Cletrac was acquired by the Oliver Corporation, eventually merging into the broader tapestry of classic American tractor brands. Still, the Model F stands out as a pioneer in crawler simplicity and ease of use. If you were a farmer in the 1910s with tight orchard rows, the Cletrac Model F, well, that was the difference between a job done right and a whole lot of knockdown fruit trees. Number 5, the Allis-Chalmers Model M. Now, by the early 1930s, crawler tractors were no longer a novelty. They had proven their worth in agriculture, logging, and construction. Enter Allis-Chalmers with their Model M in 1932. This machine emerged after Allis-Chalmers purchased the Monarch Tractor Company in 1928, absorbing Monarch's crawler expertise and integrating it into AC's robust lineup. The Model M was the result. A medium-sized crawler that combined all of the proven benefits of track-laying design with Allis-Chalmers' mechanical know-how. Under the hood, the Model M typically packed a sturdy 4-cylinder Allis-Chalmers engine that generated between 20 to 25 horsepower at the drawbar, though the exact numbers varied slightly by production year. weighing in at roughly 8,000 to 9,000 pounds. It was manageable enough for farms, yet rugged enough to handle moderate construction tasks. This dual-purpose capability made it popular among contractors who needed a crawler that wasn't as large or expensive as the 60-horsepower monsters that had come before. The bizarre factor may not be as flashy as ball-shaped treads or steam boilers, but the Model M's place on this list stems from how it bridged the gap between old-school track-laying concepts and more modern, user-friendly tractors. It introduced better operator comfort, improved steering clutches, and a general reliability that won over folks who had been skeptical about crawler maintenance costs. In cultural terms, Allis-Chalmers solidified its reputation for innovation by proving that they could compete in the crawler space just as effectively as they had with wheeled tractors and other machinery. Many Model M units found their way into tough terrains like swampy farmland in the Midwest or into civilian conservation corps projects that helped reshape America's public lands during the Great Depression. A piece of that reliability and spirit still resonates with tractor enthusiasts who restore these bright orange crawlers. Even decades later, the Model M remains a symbol of Allis-Chalmers' knack for making practical, dependable machines in an era that demanded nothing less. Number 4, the John Deere Lindeman BO crawler. Now, it may surprise some folks that one of John Deere's earliest forays into crawler tractors started not in the company's own factories, but in a small workshop in Yakima, Washington. The Lindeman brothers, who ran Lindeman Power Equipment, saw the potential to convert standard John Deere Model B tractors into a track-laying crawler. By 1937, they introduced the Lindeman BO crawler, and John Deere, they soon took notice. The hybrid machine retained that iconic two-cylinder Johnny Popper engine from the John Deere Model B, or BO. The orchard version, producing about 20 belt horsepower, enough to handle orchard and vineyard work with relative ease. Instead of rear wheels, Lindeman attached a track assembly, giving the tractor better grip and lower ground pressure. That meant orchardists could navigate hilly or soft terrain without churning up the soil or risking a spin-out. Although not as massive or powerful as some of the other crawlers on the list, the Lindeman BO crawler stood out for its practicality and the synergy between a beloved John Deere design and Lindeman's track expertise. Sales numbers may not have been astronomical, but the tractor made a name for itself among farmers who required a compact crawler for specialized tasks. Eventually, John Deere officially embraced crawler production in the 1940s, absorbing Lindeman's innovations and shaping future JD crawlers. Culturally, the Lindeman BO crawler is often celebrated at John Deere shows and collector events, where it's appreciated as a historical footnote that helped push Deere further into the track-laying market. In truth, it's a fun sight to see a small green and yellow crawler chugging along, reminding us that sometimes big innovation can start in a tiny shop. The Lindeman BO crawler is a testament to American ingenuity, merging a proven tractor with a new track technology, and you've got a bizarre yet brilliant machine that left its mark on farming history. Number 3, the Terratrac GT30. As we roll into the post-World War II era, American manufacturers were all about efficiency and smaller, more affordable crawlers for everyday use. Enter the Terratrac GT30, produced by the American Tractor Corporation in the 1950s. Often powered by a Continental engine that hovered around 30 horsepower, this compact crawler was designed to tackle tasks like grading, landscaping, small-scale farming, even light construction work. One of the Terratrac's GT30's biggest selling points was its maneuverability. Compared to the giant beasts of the 10s and 20s, this machine was downright nimble. Its smaller track footprint meant that it could slip through tighter spaces, making it a favorite for groundskeepers, estate owners, and municipalities that were looking to maintain parks or roadsides. The GT30 often came equipped with a 3-point hitch, which was relatively rare among crawlers of the time. That allowed it to use a variety of standard farm implements, boosting its versatility. In 1957, the J.I. Case Company saw the potential in Terratrac's designs and purchased ATC under Case ownership. Now, these compact crawlers evolved further, eventually morphing into the Case line of small dozers and loaders. While Terratrac didn't become a household brand name like Caterpillar or John Deere, its influence lived on through the machines that Case produced. For tractor enthusiasts, spotting a Terratrac GT30 at a vintage equipment show is like finding a hidden gem. It's distinct from the typical tractor scene because it embodies that transitional period. Crawlers were shifting from unwieldy, specialized equipment to more user-friendly machines that were accessible to smaller-scale operators. If you ask an owner, they're likely going to tell you that the GT30 punches above its weight, proving that sometimes bizarre brilliance can come in more modest packages. It may not have the flash of a giant steam hauler, but it's a valuable piece of crawler lore that broadened the market and ushered crawlers into everyday landscapes. Number 2, Struck MagnaTrack. If you ever wished that you could build your own crawler tractor in your garage, the Struck Magnatrac is probably one that's been on your radar. Introduced in 1967 by the Struck Corporation in Wisconsin, the Magnatrac stood out because it was offered as a kit, or fully assembled if you prefer not to get greasy. Now, unlike the towering steel behemoths that we've already talked about, the Magnatrac was, and still is, a compact, personal-sized dozer or crawler tractor suitable for homeowners, hobby farmers, and light construction enthusiasts. Now, typically powered by small gas engines, often Kohler or Tecumseh in earlier models, the Magnatrac featured a rugged steel frame, 2 steel tracks, and enough lift capacity to handle chores like grading driveways, plowing snow, digging small ponds, or even clearing brush. Its power ranged from between 8 to 16 horsepower in its earlier incarnations, making it approachable for someone who needed a little muscle around their property, but didn't want the size or expense of a commercial dozer. So what's so bizarre about it? Well, for one, it's the idea that you could order a box of parts and end up with a fully functioning mini crawler in your shed, a testament to the American can-do spirit. This concept was unusual in an industry dominated by huge OEMs. It allowed everyday folks to dabble in a piece of heavy equipment, but on a smaller scale. Now, over the years, the Struck Corporation refined the Magnatrac design with hydrostatic drives, more powerful engines, and optional attachments that ranged from backhoes to log grapples. Culturally, it carved out a niche among backyard engineers, do-it-yourselfers, and rural property owners who wanted real crawler functionality without that giant price tag. We hope you found that helpful if you're ever considering your own crawler project. The Magnatrac remains a unique footnote in American tractor history. Part garage hobby, part serious machine, and definitely part of our bizarre crawler countdown. Number 1, the Oliver OC6. Now, topping our list is the Oliver OC6, introduced around 1953. The OC6 came into being after the Oliver Corporation acquired the Cleveland Tractor Company, or Cletrac, in the mid-1940s. By merging Cletrac's crawler expertise with Oliver's robust line of farm tractors, the OC series was born. Most OC6 models ran a 4-cylinder engine that was sourced from Hercules, or occasionally from Oliver's own lineup. They produced enough grunt for heavy pulling in tough soil conditions that would challenge a purely wheeled tractor. One might wonder why a farmer would opt for a half-track design over a full crawler or a full-wheel tractor. The answer often came down to intended use. The front tires made steering more familiar and maintenance slightly simpler compared to typical crawler steering clutches and brakes. Meanwhile, the rear tracks provided superior traction in mud or loose earth, giving farmers more versatility. This made the OC6 an interesting option for people who needed a crawler's muscle but weren't ready to abandon all the comforts of a wheel tractor. Oliver did discontinue the OC crawler line in the early 60s, but the odd hybrid design of the OC6 still piques curiosity today. It symbolizes that middle ground of tractor evolution where manufacturers tried unorthodox solutions to balance traction, maneuverability, and cost. All in all, seeing an OC6 in action is a bit like watching a centaur at work. Half of one thing, half of another, but completely fascinating all at once. Hey, thanks for taking a trip down memory lane with these strange and unique vintage track tractors. They may not look like your modern bulldozers or sleek farm equipment, but their innovative designs laid the groundwork for everything, from land clearing to tank development. I hope you found the video helpful, or at least a little entertaining. And if you love this kind of nostalgic, in-depth look at machinery that shaped our world, be sure to hit the subscribe button and stick around for more. Your support keeps these vintage stories rolling. And until next time, keep those tracks turning.